On today's baseball edition of the Grind Hours podcast, we have some positive news. It's We're actually going to have baseball in 2020, but I have the Cuz on the line, and to go over that news, we'll just jump right into it real quick off the top here. It is a 60-game season that Major League Baseball and the Players Association agreed to, starting on either July 23rd or July 24th, with players reporting on July 3rd to go to.
Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, it's that. How weird is that baseball could be starting on your birthday? Like opening day of a baseball season could be starting on your birthday. the the rules and the rule changes of the 60 game season is teams will only play their division and the corresponding division from the other league. So if you're in the NL East, you're playing the AL East. If you're in the AL West, you're playing the NL West, and so on and so forth. If the game reaches extra innings, there will be a runner on second base, and that runner will be the person who recorded the last out in the previous inning. The other rule change is that the DH will be universal. There is no pitchers hitting, at least if teams want to use a pitcher, like if, let's say the Angels want to use Ohtani, they could do that, but every other team will have a DH hitting.
Two-way player, but that's a whole other thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if the Diamondbacks want to use Mad Bum for a cut, like they could do that, but you don't have to use the DH. But that is one of the rule changes. The universal DH will be implemented for the teams who don't have pitchers like Mad Bum or Ohtani or Syndergaard or DeGrom. Anyway, of all the things I just mentioned, where do you want to tackle first? Because
Well, it's like kind of like where do we even begin to start? Like, cause like as we've talked before, and like what we're saying now and stuff, it was a long, arduous process to even get to this point. So the fact that we've gotten to that point, I'm perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy in watching baseball. Now that I don't love the KBO, I'm still going to watch the rest of the season. I'm going to see how it plays. I think they should bring it back next year, too. I think we should just have KBO from now on, too. You know, why not more baseball? But I'm happy, and whatever. And, like, I know we've talked on the air, off the air about what's going to happen with the Players Association and the bargaining agreement. And the
we'll get to that. We will get to that.
We'll cross that bridge.
No. We're going to get to that in a minute. Like, we will talk about that.
But I'm happy, man. Baseball's back, and like feel good. You know, it feels good to have like okay, we'll see what's good. We have basketball back now. We have baseball back. That we'll get like the 60 games like really short. What I'd love to have seen more, but at the end of the day, I really don't. That doesn't bother me either way because like I'm just happy we're gonna get baseball. Period. And like some of these rule changes are pretty interesting too. And I think I've told you this before, like off the air I'm gonna say it on the air right now. It's like this is the time for these sports leagues to experiment, right? You know, I don't think every new rule change is gonna stick. Like I'm not really sold on the man on second if it goes to extras.
I'm not either. And I mean, call me a traditionalist all you want. Call me old school. I didn't like the sabermetrics when they first came out. And I thought they were a bunch of nerds. And it took me some time to get to agree with getting Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. So it takes, and that's gonna happen with a bunch of baseball fans because they're just old curmudgeons and they don't like change. But this is a time for Manfred to say, okay, this is something that I've wanted to implement since I've become commissioner. We've worked it out in the minor leagues for a couple of years. It's worked there. Let's try to do it here in the majors and bring it to prime time and the big leagues.
At least for now, because
It's 60 games. It's a 60 game sprint.
Yeah.
And
Because, well, the other thing is, like, we're living in a day and game to go 16, 17,
Right.
even 20 innings. We need it to be 10, 11 max, maybe, just because of the fact that, like we're talking about like people, like the health and safety of other people being involved. Like I said, I don't when things fully get back to normal. I don't think that should stick. Like I don't really want to have games. I mean, that's the thing. People are clamoring for baseball to get faster. So if this is what they're gonna do, I mean, I guess like you said, you didn't really like sabermetrics when it first came out. We'll get used to it, but I kind of enjoy but that's just me though, because I guess, even though we're not old curmudgeons quite yet, like in terms of baseball, we are like at times we could be old curmudgeons.
What I'm interested in is to see if the players unilaterally actually like this, because another thing that you can do is just a tie. That happens in football, and football is the biggest sport in this country. There's ties. Basketball, not so much, but like they'll play until next Tuesday to decide a winner. But soccer, there's ties. I'm pretty sure in rugby and in cricket there are ties.
There are also ties in hockey.
And there's ties in hockey. Any baseball fan, if you say we're going to implement ties, you can now tie after things of whatever it is. Think number. I don't understand why that wouldn't be implemented, especially in a 60-game sprint like this.
Well, because people like to see the walk-off, that is a part of baseball.
That is a part of baseball, but it's that like...
That's something in baseball that's not really in other sports. Like
hockey, it's in hockey.
Shootout, but...
No, but even an overtime goal. Like it happens in hockey, it happens in football with a walk-off field goal or a walk-off touchdown. That happen. It does happen.
Yeah, but you just have to have the innings though. That would be the best way.
I think 12 is a good number for me, and I've said that I've said it off air with like the ways that I would improve baseball. I would implement ties. I get it, and I understand the fascination and the grind of staying up for a game like 18 innings and saying, I've been here since 7 o'clock or 1 o'clock, or whenever the game, whenever first pitch was, and I'm staying through the entire thing. I get that because I've done it before. But,
like I said, unfortunately, we have to realize that the majority of people
are not like us. I understand that. I do understand that.
And, they get bored of baseball,
we'll see.
Very, very quickly.
We will see what happens with this.
The one I'm really excited about is the universal DH.
The players have wanted forever. I know a lot of the media members have wanted that forever as well.
Or the other one I'm really excited about, actually, I take it back. I'm excited about the universal DH, obviously, but the thing that perplexes me the most is that we will be playing we will be playing our division, right, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kick the crap out of the Red Sox. Let's, do some damage. Let's win some games. But the NL East, we're going to be playing a lot of the NL East teams. Like we're going to have, a lot of games with the Mets and the Braves and I can't even think of it. Bryce Harper's going to be playing at Yankee Stadium probably at least some.
Well, maybe. We don't know what they do want to play in home ballparks. Maybe Harper will be playing in Yankee Stadium. That could be dangerous for the Yankees. But let's take a real quick break, and we'll be back talking about the CBA. And we're in open. We were talking about the rule changes with the new shortened season and how potentially we could be seeing a rule change that could be implemented for 2021 with the runner on second. And I think the universal DH, if it's not implemented after this year, it will be after this year. But let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Feed Hudson Valley is a regional food rescue and harvesting network in the Hudson Valley operating through Dutchess, Orange, Ulster, Columbia, Greene, Putnam, and Sullivan counties. It links donors of prepared but unserved food and fresh produce with nonprofits and food assistant programs. Through an app-assisted network of food donors, volunteers, and feeding agencies, Feed Hudson Valley facilitates the harvesting, processing, and distribution of locally grown or produced agricultural products, self-stable food donations, and prepared nutritious foods. The app used is called Chow Match, and it is easy for volunteers to download and use. Among the donors are restaurants, farms, food makers, stores, hospitals, and universities. The food assistant programs include food pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters. Volunteers are matched through the Chow Match app when a donation is available. They can indicate that they are available to make a run and then pick it up for a donor and deliver it to the agency. The Feed Hudson Valley network currently includes over 300 volunteers, 130 donors, and 95 receiving agencies. Last year, on average, Feed Hudson Valley rescued and redirected over 12,000 pounds of food each month. Feed Hudson Valley could use more donors and volunteers. To learn more and sign up, visit feedhv.org. Again, that's feedhv.org. One more time, spelled out, feedhv.org. Now back to the podcast. It's up after the 2021 season. Personally, I think there's going to be something similar to what happened with this quarantine. And there's going to be friction on either end because of how untrustworthy either side thinks the other one is. And I think there's a lot of things that were probably, and I mean, this is speculation, but it's speculation backed up by the amount of time that it took to actually get a plan in place and a plan approved. Holy hell, that was, I don't know why that was a tongue twister, but I don't have any confidence that the 2022 season will start on time. Do you?
Well, what about 2021?
2021, I mean, it'll probably be pushed back because of the quarantine and playoffs.
Oh, yeah. All right, so 2022, everything will be...
2022, when at the end of the season of 2021, so either late October, early November of 2021, when the 2021 World Series champion is crowned, that'll be the end of the CBA. Or I think there's actually like a hard date set for it, like I think it happens before winter meetings. In either case, there will be 2 more seasons or 1.5 seasons played, or actually 1.25, not a quarter, one of like 33.33 seasons played before the CBA is up. But it's been well documented that the work stoppage before the start of this quarantine season was about money and about a part of the CBA that was agreed to in 2016, that the players got boned on, and they didn't get enough money that they thought they were, and the owners basically swindled them into agreeing into this deal. And even that's a little bit false because the players didn't understand what they were getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to get the money back with the prorated salaries and all that sort of stuff.
And it's like, you know, it's... I kind of agree with you. I really didn't have much, like... I was saying, like, I remember I told you this, and it's like I would have sacrificed this season in order to ensure the longevity of the future seasons and stuff, but we'll see what happens. And, you know, this just goes to show you, you know, it's all about paying attention. You know, like, you have to keep your finger on the, like, both players and management have to keep their finger on the pulse of, like, what's going on, you know?
Right.
Like, you can't really, like I've experienced it a lot, like, not even, obviously I'm not a professional baseball player, but just, like, you know, like, in just certain things in my life where, like, people are letting other people make for them and not really like giving any input or like voiding their own opinion. Where like and then all of a sudden they realize it's like something was decided that they don't agree with, and then they're like, oh, they're clamoring to get back, and it's like, well, this could have been avoided,
I don't know if this could have been avoided.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I really don't.
I don't know if this could, I don't know if particularly this, but there's ways that, like, unfortunately, like, I'm always, like, one to see, like, I try to see the sides of both sides of the coin, and, like, I would argue that there's probably fault on both.
Oh, without a doubt. There's 100% fault on both. And unlike other years with labor strikes, I think the players are getting the players are getting more of the fans' respect than in previous years because, I mean, history shows players always go with the owners because they just want the game back on the field or back on the court. So.
Yeah. And now they're saying, hey, listen, we're due.
Well, it's player empowerment. So the fans actually understand the player side of it more.
Yeah.
Even on this side, for the 2020 season, both sides look greedy and just crying over spilt milk and like children fighting over fucking pennies. But the players looked a little bit lesser than the owners did. And because, I mean, let's be honest, the owners were cheating them out of a little bit of money.
And like, not that the owners probably not necessarily need that little extra money.
They're not going to miss it. Will they miss it in the short term for the next 18 months? Yes. But in 5 years from now, when your organization is putting up what it just put up in 2019, when maybe it was the most profitable it's ever been in the history of the sport, I don't agree. And that we're getting way into the weeds here. But
yeah,
do you think that there's going to be a strike in 2022?
I hope not. But I don't know what can be said. Like, at this point in time, you have to ride the wave. Like I said, we're people have said this probably, I don't know how many times during the quarantine and the pandemic and whatever.
I know where you're going to go.
We're living in unprecedented times, and that's going to be this way for. It's not going anywhere. At the end of 2020, these unprecedented times will not go away. It's going to linger. The effects of this will linger on.
Yes, and
I don't know what's going to happen, and I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen with baseball. I hope that if something happens with a strike or something, it doesn't kill the sport. I don't think it will, but I think they should try to avoid it at all costs. But like you said, it could be one of those things where it's unavoidable at this point in time, at this juncture, that with everything that's going on in the world and how like things have been handled and stuff like that, and now we might be on like a turning point, like that. Like whatever's going to happen is irreparable. There's no turning back now. We're past the turning point of whatever's going to happen, and we're just going to have to ride the wave and see what happens.
At the end of the day, this will be a turning point in Major League Baseball history. I think looking back at it through the history books, you'll have pre-quarantine, you'll have from 94 until now, where it was unprecedented peace between the two sides. And then you're going to have after quarantine. And I think the sport looks different. Will it be profitable? Yes. But I think, honestly, what they did, they being Major League Baseball and the Players Association, is they've continuously shot themselves in the foot from popularizing the sport with the youth in this country. I think if they got off on July 1st, and it was set in stone. They were already in spring training. There were spring training games going, and we were gearing up for the start of the season on July 1st. And they were the first sport to announce a comeback. They were the first sport to actually come back. I think they would have hit a point where they got some of the young viewership, and it stuck. And they're like, this is the only thing I have going on right now. I know it's not what I want to watch, but I'm going to watch it just because it's the only thing going. And who knows? They probably would have gotten people to stick with it, but
Yeah.
they didn't. And they're going to continue to cry about money in 2022. It's inevitable at this point. There's no way in hell that I think now it could be just a month, and they'll get it ready in a month and go. But I don't think there's any way in hell that they long term sustain the success that they will have. Will they have some profitable years? Yes, but I think baseball is becoming hockey, and it's a bit of a niche sport. If you love sport, you're going to love it. But the outside expansion of it, I really
Unless,
don't see it.
well, I mean, like I said, there's always two sides to everything. That's a very well possibility, but who knows? Like I said, we're not mind readers. We're not psychics. We
You're
don't
right.
know. We're not Nostradamus. We don't know what the future could be. Maybe, try to look on the bright. I mean, like, now think about talking it out with you. Like, we can try and look on the bright side of things. Who knows? This could put the end. Like, if they, let's say, worst case scenario, they go on strike. This could put an end to an era of baseball. But that doesn't mean that it's ending baseball, right? Like, think about it. Like, we had the dead ball era, and then we've had the modern era. This is like the future era, almost. Like,
Maybe.
that we're
I hope you're right. Honestly, I hope you're right.
like Ken Burns is gonna have to make another documentary about the modern era of baseball because because like completely, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, change isn't always bad. Change can be good. Change for the worse, that's what we want to avoid. And I think that's the thing that I hope they can avoid altogether. Like, listen, I guess the worst case scenario is that, like, baseball becomes a niche sport like hockey, then so be it. I love hockey. I love the Stanley Cup playoffs. And, like, just because it's not the most popular sport in America, and, like, it's, like, baseball would no longer be, quote-unquote, America's path, whatever. Like, people are still going to watch hockey. People are still going to watch baseball. People are still going to be invested in it. And, like, it is what it is,
John,
But,
it was a pleasure having you on. We've reached the end here. So why don't we tell the people where we can find you?
well, Cousin John, you can find me on this. We can talk more stuff. Um, I'll be back on Twitter in a couple days, like once the end of the month comes, just because I want to do a little social media quarantine, see how many followers I lost or probably gained or whatever. We'll just cross that bridge. Or you can follow me on Instagram at not_Sebastian_Maniscalco, and we'll just go from there.
All right, buddy. This was fun. I will talk to you soon, and be easy, all right?
All right, sounds good.
After this quick break, we will hear from Rohdin, and we'll talk some betting in terms of the shortened season and the over-under win totals. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. I have Rohdin on the line. We're going to be talking some old school betting action. We're going to get to the adjusted over-under win totals for the shortened 60-game season for Major League Baseball. And first off, Rohdin, how you been, brother? It's been a while since we've gone pod together.
I've been mostly just staying home, relaxing. That's about it. How about you?
I mean, it's been good. I just spent, you're going to be hearing this on Thursday, and we're recording this on a Monday. I just spent 3 hours today painting at my grandparents' house on a ladder. So that's how my day's been. And I just recorded the Boston that's going to be put out on Tuesday. So by the time this gets out, you will have already heard the pod that Austin and I did, which was like old times. Anyway, let's jump right into it here. And we went over who we had. We didn't give our thoughts, but we went over who we had before we got on. Why don't you go first?
You want to just me to go straight through it?
Uh,
Or you
we'll
want
we'll alternate. You go one, I go one, and then we'll alternate back and forth.
Alright, so I'm going to go with my first one, which is over Angels.
What's
Just
the
because
what's the win total?
the win total, let me see if I can find it. 32.
That's okay.
So
That scared me off.
that scared you off?
Yes.
So the way that I looked at it is the way that the new schedule is that you play 10 games against the teams in your division and then 4 games against the opposite division, like the National
Right.
League West, kind of.
Right.
I thought that the Angels, Atane is going to be back for probably all of this hitting and pitching. Rendon is a big bat. I just think that they added the players that they needed to really improve as a team, and I think that, I think they can get 32 wins, especially because I feel like they have enough hitters to win most of their games. I'm trying to pull up the stand.
The reason why I don't believe 32 is an attainable number, they might hit 32 right in the nose and cause you to get a push, but I don't trust their pitching enough outside of Ohtani to help them get to 32. I see them at around 500, maybe even a dip below, just because their pitching isn't there yet. Do they have one of the best lineups in the game? Absolutely. But their pitching staff as a whole is subpar, and I think that'll lose them a lot of games, especially early on, because it's not going to take that much time for the hitters to get back. Maybe you get them 50 ABs, and they're right where they were, or close to where they were when spring training was shut down due to the pandemic. But for me, I have the San Diego Padres over 31. I think they'll hit exactly 33 wins. I like their pitching a little bit more than the Angels. I trust in Machado and that young lineup to come up clutch in a couple of situations and just have a couple of outlying games where they just hit 7 bombs in a game and out 9-4. One of those types of. So I like them and I like them because of youth. They can adapt to a shortened season better than a team that has a bunch of veterans like the Astros or the Minnesota Twins. So, what say you for number 2?
I'm gonna go with the Miami Marlins. I just think that they're not a good team. I don't really see any
What is there? Do they have the lowest? Because I saw the Orioles at 20 and a half.
I don't think so. I think the Orioles might be the lowest.
The Orioles went up actually because they were at 20 and a half. They'll get over 20 and a half wins, and then it went up to I think 20. I think it went up to 21 and a half, and or maybe even 22, and that scared me off.
So they're at 24 and a half.
The Orioles?
Yeah, no, the Marlins. The Orioles are at 21 and a half.
Yeah, I saw it at 20 and a half, and I was like, they'll get over 20 and a half wins. 21 and a half. I don't know if they'll get 2 extra wins because that's a really bad team. I agree with you with the Marlins. I agree with you with the Marlins.
Yeah. It's also the 2 divisions that they're playing against. I just feel like they're not going to be too competitive.
Yeah, when you have to play Tampa Bay, which we'll talk about later, and the Yankees, and also the Braves, you're not going to be getting any wins. It's really a rough go of it for both the Nationals or the Marlins and the Orioles here.
Yeah.
For me, we'll stay out west, and I'm going Texas over 29.5. I think they'll hit at least 500. I like Lance Lynn coming back for a full season. I like a lot of their young talent. I enjoy Joey Gallo on a regular basis. I think Rohdin Odor has a little bit left in the tank. And they're just one of those teams where they have the perfect amount of youth and veteranship to have a really good team. Will they make the playoffs? I doubt it. But I think they are good enough to play spoiler at the tail end of this season. And I'm buying all the Texas Ranger stock.
Okay. Yeah, I like them too. I just don't know because the Angels going over. I just don't see them getting there for me. But with my third, I think I'm gonna go under Rockies, and the Rockies are at 27 and a half.
I think they'll get over that. You don't think they're going to be playing 500 ball with that club that they got there, especially Arenado? There's no, I mean, there is a trade deadline, but I don't understand why somebody would trade somebody with 60 games, but that's just me.
I think for me, it's similar in the A's, but I don't think they have enough bats. Like, they have Story and Blackman and Arenado. Their pitching really scares me, especially their starting pitcher. I don't think very far, and then especially with the two divisions that they have to play, I don't see them as like a contender in the two divisions that they have to play.
All right. I'll make this really quick. In a full setting, I would be terrified of the Tampa Bay Rays. In a 60-game setting, 34 wins, I am going under 34 wins for the Tampa Bay Rays, just simply because I don't think they have enough time to be one of those elite teams in a shortened season. I think their bats are a little bit inexperienced, and I could be proven wrong. I was a big Ray supporter, and I lived in fear of him on a daily basis last year. Just there's something about this shortened season that I'm still scared of him, but not as much.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. I think I feel like they're a really good team if it was a full season or like at least 100 games. But I think 60 games is too little for them.
Number 3? Or actually number 4, excuse me.
So I've just been debating between under Red Sox at 31 and a half and under Nationals at 34.
I would say under Nationals.
That's what I was about to say. I think I'm going to go under Nationals just because they lost Rendon. They kept a lot of their pitching staff, but I think John Ross just said that he's not coming back today or yesterday. I just feel like
he's not that important.
He's not that important, but he's a good fifth-man rotation in a shorter season. They're going to need to definitely give Scherzer and I'm not blanking on his name.
Strasburg.
They're going to need a little more rest because it's going to be a shorter season.
They have had rest.
But, I mean, in a sense, they're not going to pitch every 4 days. So I just think that's just going to it's going to carry on the team, and I don't think they have the bats to support them. And then, again, they're going against really good teams in their divisions that they have to play.
I would enjoy their title defense if it was 162. I think they have a playoff team if it's a full season. I would err on the side of like 32, 33 wins for them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because something's going to happen, and I don't think they have enough bats to compete in a 2-month sprint. So I would agree with you, but that one is still scary, but it's the safer bet than under for the Red Sox.
Yeah, definitely.
My last one, and you can call me a hater all you want, or a hypocrite for supporting one young team and not another one. I'm going under 31.5 for the Chicago White Sox. I don't believe in this team. They haven't proved anything. They have nobody that has proved anything on a big stage besides Tim Anderson. I think that's their only player. I'm not a believer in Moncada yet. They have Giolito, but if he can prove that he's more than just a one-year wonder, I will get behind him. They have nobody in the bullpen, and yeah, they're a team that hasn't proved anything, and to put them in this spot where you have to play the NL Central a bunch of times when you got the Brewers who are fully healthy, you got the Cubs who are fully healthy, you got the Cards who are fully healthy, and you add in the universal DH, there's no way that they get over 31.5 wins. There's no scenario. Absolutely zero.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with that one. I just think they hadn't added any pitching. They just added a whole bunch of players that were average, and I don't think that's going to make them much better, especially, again, the divisions that they're playing. Like, that was a big part of what I was looking at, who they're going to be playing in a shortened series, because if you're playing a really tough division and you're an average team, you're not going to get many wins.
I will say this is probably a building season for the White Sox, and they could build their core for 2021 and beyond, but I don't think it's going to produce many wins on the field for them. But Rohdin, this was a lot of fun. I'm so happy to have you back on for betting purposes and to throw around a little bit of fake money, and who knows, we both have a little bit of scratch, so we might throw just a little bit at the over-unders because we got nothing going on. I appreciate you coming on, and let people know where they can find you before we get out of here.
Just Twitter at Jose Rohdin, Rohdin. That's just the last name. But that's pretty much it. All I'm doing right now.
You got any articles that you want to promote?
Not yet. I don't have anything yet for a while, but hopefully soon.
All right, on this side of the coin, not the fake J Leo, jdatasports.blogspot.com. Like I said, on the Tuesday pod, I've got some stuff cooking up for you guys, so stay tuned on that. And, of course, this podcast. If you reach this point, please like, subscribe, share with anybody who you seem fit. If you're on iTunes, please give us a review. It means more than you know. And until next time, have a good weekend, and it's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Peace.